This week, the Trump situation took another twist, and now we're all asking, what the hell was a 20-year-old kid doing with 3 international encrypted accounts? Joe Biden just shocked the world last night by announcing that he is officially stepping down out of the race. But it's starting to look like this was the plan all along. Also, the world was just hit by the largest global outage in years. But what caused it, honestly, shouldn't be possible. The government of Bangladesh just purposefully shut down the entire nation's internet and mobile services, and the reason the world's largest uncontacted tribe have been spotted leaving the forest in large groups has experts very worried. All of that and so much more, so we'd best get cracking. Oh, it's the 40th video that I've posted on the channel edition. Make sure you remember to put that in, Alex. Okay, I want to kick today off with some absolutely baffling information we are now learning about the Trump shooter. Because I had hoped that this FBI investigation would make this whole situation make just a little bit more sense. But no. God damn it, no. The investigation is only making it make less sense. But before we even get into the strangeness about Thomas Crooks and what we're learning about him, Donald Trump just did an interview, and even he doesn't know why the Secret Service did what they did. Alex, just play them a short clip of this, because this is madness.
No one told you not to take the stage?
No, nobody mentioned it. Nobody said there was a problem. And I would have waited for 15. They could have said, let's wait for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 5 minutes, something. Nobody said, I think that was a mistake. How did somebody get on that roof? And why wasn't he reported? Because people saw that he was on the roof. I mean, you had Trumpers screaming. The woman in the red shirt, she was screaming, there's a man on the roof. And then other people said, there's a man on the roof who's got a gun. And that was quite a bit before I walked onto the stage. So you would have thought somebody would have done something about it.
Absolutely wild, right? But I mean, like, the failure of the Secret Service aside, did you know that the FBI now believe that Thomas Crooks managed to fly a drone over the rally site twice? Not even the Secret Service had a drone that day, which, let's be honest, they should have. And not just that, but we're also now learning that Crooks was linked to 3 overseas encrypted accounts. And that information comes from Representative Michael Waltz when he was speaking with FBI agents. Now, we don't know much yet about these accounts. Well, at least we don't. The FBI probably does know. But they don't say what they were used for or even if they are officially his, because they like to use the word linked, not necessarily owned. But I mean, still, what the hell is an engineering graduate doing being linked with stuff like this? Because I mean, like, when I heard a 20-year-old kid managed to pull all of this out, I was like, damn, that's crazy. But then I heard he had explosives. Then he was caught with a rangefinder, then a drone, and now offshore encrypted accounts. Who is brother? And I mean, I think at this point, it is very safe to say that he probably wasn't just your average 20-year-old kid. I mean, like, I know he planned this all out, but how did he know that there wasn't going to be someone on that roof? Because it shocked the rest of the world. So, I mean, did he plan to shoot from somewhere else? And then he just walked in and he was like, oh, damn. No one on that roof, that's a pretty solid place. Or did he just get lucky? Or did he know something? Also, what was his plans with the explosives? I know the FBI said that, he was going to use it as a distraction, but he never did. So what's up with that? I think at this point, it's just within the public's interest. FBI, release some stuff to us about what's going on. Because this shit is turning me into Alex Jones right now.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Okay, and just to give another side to this, most of the time when I'm looking into developing stories like these that don't have all of the information, it's very easy for your brain to fill in the gaps. But when your brain does, it fills it in with the most insane, magical stories that honestly could be in a Steven Spielberg film. But then, like the Jay Slater situation or even the Kate Middleton stuff, we find out later when more information comes in that it's not a Steven Spielberg movie. It's more just like a accidental slip or cancer. I mean, need I say more? But I mean, okay, what do you guys think? Is this going to turn into some crazy wild conspiracy? Or is it just something as boring as gross incompetence? Let me know in the comments, but we must move on. Okay, talking about grand conspiracies, almost a month ago, I made 2 videos with these opening lines. Video 1, we may have just witnessed the end of Joe Biden's presidency last night. And video 2, after what I've seen today, I almost can't even see a scenario where Biden doesn't step down before the election. And I said these things at a point where, you know, the idea of Joe Biden stepping down out of the race for the election was a little bit taboo, to put it lightly. Many said that it was just too crazy to be possible. But at that time, when I saw that Biden's team called for the earliest presidential debate in US history, I was like, ain't no way. That is just a coincidence. Because you see, typically, as I mentioned before, presidential debates usually happen way later on in the year, October, September time. And that pattern has been consistent for years. But this time around, it just so happened to be called in June? Why, you ask? Well, they said it was just to get people re-engaged back into politics early. Sure. And to be fair, before the debate happened, it didn't really seem like much. But then the debate did actually happen. And Joe Biden had such a bad night that arguably, you know, I think I was right by saying that on that day, we did witness the end of Joe Biden's presidency.
Total initiative relative to what we can do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look.
But then here's where things really start to get sus. Because the very next day after that debate, multiple sources came out and told the Daily Mail that Biden was purposefully set up to fail. And they even described it as a soft coup to oust him. Again, when I reported on this, it was still like, bit fringe, you know? The sources said they believed that the administration knew he wasn't in a good enough mental or physical state to not only win the election against Trump, but to last 4 more years. But because, as we all know, it's close to impossible for, the Democratic Party to push Joe Biden out against his will, the sources believed that they needed a different strategy. They suggested that his team held the debate this early, knowing it would be a disaster and the whole world would see it, and so that there is still time to replace him before November. And I mean, now that we've got the benefit of hindsight, it's kind of exactly what's happened. Because just imagine if the world saw that debate happen in October and not June. There would literally be no shot at replacing Biden. So you would either lose against Trump or win, but actually have to serve 4 more years. And just seeing the decline from just even 2020 to 2024 with Joe Biden, 4 more years on top of that, would be rough. And I mean, it sounds so crazy, but I honestly think that the attempted assassination on Trump was pretty much the nail in the coffin. I mean, it did so much for Trump's campaign that people are like, ain't no way this just, coincidentally happened. He definitely set that shit up. And then, just a week later, Biden steps down? I would honestly love to know if that was an actual factor where they were discussing if Biden should step down or not. This is honestly going to be one of the, if not the, craziest elections we've ever seen. I mean, already it feels like someone's writing, a build-up to a Netflix season series finale. I mean, in just the last episode, the former president is so close to getting assassinated that it grazes his ear, and then he gets up and he pumps his fist with the American flag flying behind him while the crowd starts chanting, USA, USA. And then we get a scene change and his main opposition steps down with only 4 months until the election happens, which has never happened before in modern politics. And the whole world is like, holy shit, and waiting with anticipation as to who replaces Biden. I mean, honestly, this is getting so crazy to the point where I wouldn't even be surprised if in the next episode we see someone that we thought died in season 1 come back and step in and try and save America. You know what? I'm not even ruling out, RFK at this point. Okay. I've just Googled it, and it says that if he was alive today, he'd be 107. So, maybe not. But then again, actually, this series has kind of had a theme of old age. So, we're back on. Oh, okay. I need to stop. Absolutely wild. Only in America can this happen. But let me know. What do you think? Who do you think will replace Biden? Who do you want to replace Biden? But until the next episode, let's move on. And I've been talking about shit coming straight out of movies. We are now currently recovering from the largest IT outage we've had in years, if not decades. Planes around the world were grounded. Some people couldn't get into their banks. Computers left, right, and center were shutting down and showing these blue screens of death. Some say they couldn't pay for their groceries. Emergency services were disrupted. Pharmacies, schools, TV stations, trains, taxis, Xbox gamers. Everyone was having issues. And you want to know what caused all of that? One single defective update for Windows. Absolute madness. The outages were first reported in Australia, and then the US, and then it went all over the world. Japan, India, UK, Europe, Middle East, Africa. Sounds like a freaking virus. Oh, and you want to know what's crazy? Not only did England lose the finals just not long ago, but our bad luck continued. Because not only was the day that this all kicked off the same day that was supposed to be their busiest travel day for the entire year, but it also happened to be the same day they were scheduled to have the most amount of departures from the UK since before the pandemic. Oh man, I could just whip this global outage. Damn you, global outage. Ah! So you're probably wondering, how the hell did one faulty update cause all of this? Well, you see, firstly, a lot of the world's digital infrastructure uses the Windows operating system. And Windows, along with many, many other companies, use a company called CrowdStrike for security. CrowdStrike had a bad software update that primarily was caused by a mistake in the configuration of one file called channel file 291. Yes. You heard that right. Almost the entire world was brought to its knees by one file. One GigaChat file. Alex, put that file on GigaChat. That's who it is. And look, I mean, I'm happy to report it wasn't a cyber attack, but this is almost arguably worse because it's a shocking reminder of just how fragile and delicate our global digital infrastructure actually is. And also, a little bit of a reminder to me when this all kicked off, keep a little bit of cash because I walk around here like the world is going to continue the way it is forever. I just walk around with Apple Pay. If I travel and they don't have Apple Pay, I'm screwed. That's how delicate I am. So yeah, I'll probably be keeping a little bit of cash after this just so I could buy groceries in case shit kicks off. Actually, speaking of resilience, this is a good topic. Alex, that man has surprised me. The editor for the News Daddy Empire almost died. Was it yesterday, the day before? So I don't want to give too many details of his personal life, but he's currently in an RV, traveling down to some undisclosed location. And while he's on these beautiful, and Alex is showing this, right, scenic mountains, doing his beautiful job, some fire kicks off. And I'm not even joking. Alex, play that shit. He sends me a message basically saying like, I kind of had to just pack up and leave because this wildfire is coming towards us. And what a life. And he told me that he literally just made it out in time. If there was any other cars behind them, they would have had to stop, turn around, or I don't know what, die? Alex, can you provide any more information? But the whole reason I'm telling you this is that Alex is actually a very self-reliant person. If the world goes to shit, like it did the other day, Alex is fine. He was hunting deer, not with an actual, hunting. He was hunting it with his camera to see if he could hunt it. And he said that he could. So anyway, enough about Alex, just a bit of Alex admiration. We love you, Alex, but moving on. But let us continue. As you'd imagine, CrowdStrike shares dropped by 20%, which is equal to about a $16 billion loss in a day. And actually, turns out we were kind of just lucky that it was only Microsoft. Because according to their last earnings, they have 24,000 customers. And no, that's not just individuals like you and me. That's 24,000 large corporations, including Apple and Linux. Imagine we all went down. What the hell? Anyway, we live to fight another day somehow. But let's move on. But talking about things shutting down, oh my lord, what's happening in Bangladesh right now is absolutely wild. So this week, massive protests erupted around the country. So in response, not only did the government place a curfew over the entire population enforced by the military, but they also ordered the closure of all universities and completely shut down their internet and mobile services to try and stop the unrest. I mean, can you just imagine for 1 second if your government, in wherever you live right now, shut down your internet? I mean, that is a country of over 170 million people cut off from the rest of the world. I mean, this really put it in perspective for me because I was watching a video, like a TikTok the other day, and it was about this English guy, and he was basically just going in at the UK. He said, I hate the UK, you know, the economy shit, the jobs are shit, the weather shit, the culture shit, like all of this. And then I was thinking to myself, well, goddamn. At least we don't live in a country where our government shuts off our internet because we're protesting. Once you travel a lot, you really do appreciate the amazing parts of your country. Just like that, just the small ability to be able to criticize your government or what the, prime minister and not like get absolutely destroyed. I heard one journalist in Italy had to pay damages for making fun of the prime minister's height. And I literally saw that a few days after I made fun of the president of Sweden's height. So, and I'm good, because I live in a good country. Anyway, let me continue. Sorry, a lot of tangents today. And I mean, the situation in Bangladesh is literally turning into something that you'd see in a movie because they stormed a prison and broke out hundreds of people. The government is being hacked by a group called The Resistance. Tell me that doesn't come out of a movie. And on the official website of the Prime Minister, it currently reads, "Stop killing students." It's not a protest anymore. It's a war now. Woo! And what they're referencing is the 105 people killed so far in these protests, according to an AFP count. So you're probably wondering at this point, what has caused all of this? You see, in Bangladesh, they have a job system, right, in which over half of the government jobs are reserved for specific groups, and only 44% of them can you actually apply for and get based on how good you are, off of merit. And when you have a country where over 40% of the youth are neither in university or have work, jobs really matter. Some students want this system abolished, while others want it to remain, which is why things have turned so violent and why the words like civil war are floating around right now. The very, very latest, just before I got into this garage to record, I heard that they have abolished this system now, just like in the last few hours. Don't know the details of that yet, but it seems like the protests may have worked. But of course, I'll keep you updated. But it's wild to think the only reason I found out about this is because hundreds of you guys messaged me. And it's crazy how something as insane as this can happen around the world, and you can just go completely unaware. Anyway, moving on. Also in the last couple of days, new rare footage emerged of the world's largest uncontacted tribe. But the mystery as to why they're leaving the forest in such large groups has experts pretty worried. It's estimated that up to 150 were seen in this area. But after being shown these images, a lawyer who specializes in environmental law in Peru said, "They show us a very alarming and also worrying situation because we do not know exactly what the reason for their departure to the beaches is." He continued saying, "Indigenous people usually mobilize in smaller groups, and a large one like this might be a situation of alarm." And that situation of alarm, they believe, could be because logging concessions are dangerously close to their territory. Now, this potential close proximity not only raises fears about the conflict between the tribe people and the logging workers, which do kind of have a history of conflict because the tribe attacked 2 of them in 2022 and killed 1 of them. But also, far worse than just that, because this tribe is uncontacted, they don't really have fantastic immune systems against the plethora of us people that have all mingled together. If loggers come into contact with them, they could bring dangerous diseases that their immune systems would have no defense against, and it could wipe them all out. But anyway, that is it for today. Wild stuff going on in the world right now. I cannot believe we are making it to the end of each week. But I love you guys. Another week on schedule, not late. And that's me. News Daddy is back. So until Thursday, love ya. See you there.